Hi, this is Skip Stewart, Vice President and Chief Improvement Officer with Baptist Memorial Healthcare. Today, I'd like to talk about the strategic deployment and alignment process. Most of you are familiar with this very top document that we use to help think through the strategic A3, and we go from box 1 all the way over here to box 5. The problem would be to think about this thing linear, because it's not linear, it's very dynamic. It's a learner and a coach going back and forth playing catch ball, and I'll explain what that word means in a minute. After you're into the very first month of the year, then you're probably going to shift to what we call a status A3. Now, many people will actually start with a status A3 first. That is a mistake. A status A3 is nothing more than a manifestation of this box number 5. It's where we're studying and adjusting, but it's after we've went through the hard process of filling out the strategic A3. Then at the high level, when we look at this, we can see where at an entity under the themes of right care, right time, right place, and right cost, you might have multiple strategic A3s. In this example, under right care, there are 3 strategic A3s. And the first one, this very first strategic A3, we're going to use as an example, is quality. And this quality group for this entity has determined a certain gap that needs to be shut, that must be shut for whatever reasons. And they're depending on Department 1, Department 2, and Value Stream 1 to shut their gap. And they've determined what they need out of each one of those departments in that value stream. Then you can see, just to use an example, Department 1, they've determined that they're going to use a storyboard where we practice kata. And it wouldn't be unusual at all for them to realize that they're going to need JI, JM, and almost always JR. Now, Department 2, depending on the work that needs to be done, they may not necessarily have a kata activity as much as they're using an action plan. Now, they're still going to use that kata mindset, and they're going to experiment as they're putting that action plan into place. And they're also more than likely going to run into the JI, JM, and JR. Now, you'll notice on these blue lines, there's an arrow on both sides, because that's what we call catchball. See, catchball just refers to the give and take required between management levels and staff during this planning and implementation process. See, it's really trying to understand the current condition. It's having this really frank, reality-based discussions between and within levels of management. See, it requires a completely different kind of leadership and foundation of mutual respect. Catchball is not a one-time activity, but it's part of both the development early on, and it lives throughout the A3's life throughout the fiscal year. It's a scrubbing process that helps management employees understand what is real. Now, yes, we want the work to be influenced by the Baptist Management System principles, and many times people will think, well, you must mean number 7, the scientific thinking, or number 11, the systemic thinking. And yes, we definitely want that thinking to influence as we develop our strategic and tactical A3s, but we also want things like respect and humility and trust. Now, are there other pieces that will come into play as we're deploying this information? Oh yeah, we're going to probably run into a strong need for standardization, or we're going to need strong shepherding groups to make sure that the work is aligned correctly. We might need an intense improvement effort, and we call that Get Better Jumpstart. But it ultimately all must be anchored to our strategic A3s right here. And many times I've had people say, well, this is really hard work. Yes, it is. And that's why I always recommend that we start months in advance. It's hard work because it's a system. And remember, a system by definition is a whole that cannot be separated into individual parts. If you have more questions around strategic deployment and alignment, and you're trying to connect the dots in your mind, please give me a call. Thank you.